Technology is, social media, is excellent at their job. I don't blame social media. We should be, we do champion its success, but its stated goal is to get people using it as often as possible. They are doing a great job at that. So they are doing an excellent job. As consumers and users, and namely that 18 to 22, although it's becoming earlier and earlier, I think the usership between 13 and 16 is growing every day. But that is dominating too much of our time. And it's really taking away from the college experience. I mean, I challenged myself to ask someone on a date, but my palms were sweaty. Pop culture reference, Eminem line. And of course I was nervous, and a lot of times I asked up, which was my own mental deficiency, but I always thought, she'll never say yes, but I thought, well, you have to do it. And the idea of rejection became okay, acceptable. It's a data, it's a learning moment. But it wasn't done on the phone, right? It wasn't, I didn't slide in the DMs. I didn't watch a story, see where that person was. It's almost stalkerish, but you can gauge where people are at with live real time. Then you just had to go out. And I am not only nostalgic, because that plays into American culture, but I think I would have really, I get a little frustrated for my students if I'm noticing that there's not as much organic relationship forming as opposed to everything done with the use of a digital wingman or a technological wingman. So I probably would try to start something that flushed out experience, some sort of experiential pop-up, a rotating pop-up. I think subscription base is great because now I'm getting recurring revenue. And if I keep my price point low, you might forget about it on your credit card, or even more hopefully it's on a parent's credit card and they don't even know what it is.
Even better.
Right. And yet by experience, I'm creating some, and by the way, this is completely off the top of my head, so I don't, as we form it, we might realize that
there's something wrong
that it's not going to get picked up on Shark Tank. But through experience, I am imagining some FOMO element, like I've got to be a part of that. I'm incorporating social media, but I'm trying to say this is, the anti-social media experience. And I think through that and through pop-ups, and because I have so many assets, because I have a meetup on the quad, because I have studios like this, I have things that I technically have access to for free because of, this concept of tuition. I'd try to maximize those. When you can start a company that has considerable resources at no cost, I will invest in that. So yeah, I think that would be, as I started talking about the college experience and what it is today, there might be this desire of, I am kind of sick of the phone, or that sounds different. I will go check that out. And if to be a member, it was $5 a month and I had 50,000 potential users, that's great.
Okay, I've been dying to do something like this, and you literally described what I've been thinking. Okay, so tell me more. So pop-up, where's that happening? So people are subscribing to you.
Why would people pay? I mean, I'm sure, if they want that experience,
sure they'll pay. I don't know, by the way. We're figuring this out together.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, as a student, would you pay to put down your own phone?
As a student, would you, if you didn't, okay, so let's talk about why you would continue to pay and subscribe. and we're in the experiential almost pop-up.
Sure.
We're probably not announcing till the day of, right? And that kind of creates this, well, my price point is not so high that it curbs another choice. If I'm at $5 a month, I'm not saying, well, I'd rather eat this month than lose. So you're not competing as a measure of choice.
$4.99. That's
exactly. And if you don't know what it is yet, it's like, well, I wonder what they're going to do next month. I mean, you're kind of like creating like this, if I didn't like last month's, well, I'm going to stay on because if I don't, I'm not going to get the SMS text or I'm not going to get the alert that says, join us at this quad for such and such event. What could be an experiential, low-cost event? Some sort of washable, non-toxic paint where the three of us spend the entire weekend filling up super soakers of different colored paint. And it's all, nothing is toxic. There's that, whatever that paint is.
Sure,
let's just assume. And we do water balloons and we spend just all weekend and our fingers are ready to fall off and we're tired. But we show up and we say, wear a white t-shirt and white. And there's also markers. But now we're students amongst our peers. And whether we're spraying each other with different colors paint, whether we're drawing on our white shirts, and now we're walking around with art. And it's unique art. And fashion is a big trend. And like the sort of organically created, like one of a kind, that's a huge trend on social media and TikTok. So now I'm sporting the shirt that, I wore, I'm wearing the clothes that was created this event. I don't know, would anybody go to that? We're hitting a lot of goals in that it is social. And when I say social, the corporate synonym is networking. We should always be networking. I have yet to read a quality academic journal which suggested that networking was a negative or bad. So yeah, I think that's off the top of my. And then we're pushing ourselves to imagine different experience. Maybe there's a volunteerism effort. Maybe it's it can't be a chore. Maybe once we provide enough data saying, well, we have 400 users that are active, which means they've returned at least once. We're going to Busey Bank or we're going to Jimmy John's. We're getting corporate sponsor. We're creating budgets. Through those budgets, we're expanding what our activities can be. Okay, now the three of us have $3,500 to figure out what we can do. And maybe through your $4.99, it's a whole, maybe all the food is provided. So now there's all this free food for $5 a month. I mean, that could be.
Yeah, it's funny because I've done a lot of projects and everything seems to be leading up to this. So, I actually created a Twitter account that gives free food on campus. And basically how it works is that if you're walking in the quad and you see like free pizza, you open your phone and you submit the form and free food. And there's over 1,000 followers in the account. And it's, so like I have the distribution. So it's just like easy distribution that I could get for this thing. And like, hey, pop-up thing or whatever the name would be. I actually created like a franchise, like a spin-off thing from there. It's like UIUC.
Is there revenue?
No, I mean
there's no. It's
crowdsourced.
It's crowdsourced, yeah.
Right. Okay.
But it has a lot of people that can certify distribution, which is important for whatever thing I do.
The most important.
Exactly. So, and and another thing I did was it's called UIUC Free Food, and another I think 2 weeks ago for fun I created UIUC Free Friends. Same format just for friends. Didn't quite work out. Some friction there. Something I need to figure out. But not everything you do has to be super successful. But okay, so one thing would be, how do you prevent this thing of I guess so. First would be getting the users, which you could do through FOMO and whatever else. But then the next thing would be, like, how do you make it cool enough that people are like interested in it and not just like painting
Cringy?
whatever, like that's
Yeah.
not cool, like, oh, I'm busy, or like whatever. So like, how do, because like once you have enough people that, okay, this is cool, like I want to do it, like game over. But in the beginning it's like why?
Yeah, I think that's where the creativity, the resources of time in our meetings should be front loaded heavily in marketing and creativity. So we're making an assumption that we've presented the prospect of the product in a eye-attention manner. I would probably do it through brand ambassadors. So I would recruit people who have large social media followings in different, sects of the campus. And then your follow-up would be, okay, well then how do you recruit those people? You're starting in some sort of incentive capacity. So that can be at the most grassroots through, it could be an equitable sort of venture that vests after certain usership and consistency and commitment. It can be, if you have a startup budget, it could be very transparent and economic. But yeah, brand ambassadors would be the fastest way to capture the most amount of people. Identifying them shouldn't be difficult because the community is broken up into very clear, just look at the numbers.
Sure.
This many people are interested in the sporting events. This many people do register for RSOs, which are published. This many people are waiting in line outside of KAMS and Red Lion. As part owner, I get to do a little, plug KAMS Red Lion. I don't know if either of you know that or whatnot, but it's part of my writer. So yeah, I think there's ways to identify where that is, and what I'll do. Some of the things I'm interested in today. So I have over 70 companies. And again, a company is just from one to several hundred in different industries. What I really like to spend a lot of my time talking about today is how I can leverage and collaborate between the different brands. Because you have a foundation, an establishment, and an interested consumer base. And A does, as does B. A and B mutually exclusive. Okay, now how
can you combine them?
Yes. I would start there for here. I mean, that's really what we're talking about too. How can I collaborate with how can UIUC food or UIC free people collaborate with another sort of startup or Twitter handle or page or Barstool Illini? How can I take, it's going to cost me a cup of coffee to bribe them for a 15-minute meeting where let's just start talking. Let's just start throwing out ideas. And if 15, 20 minutes goes by and neither of us are stimulated, let's just get out of here. But I think through brand collaboration association, that would be one of the earlier ways I would look at launching. Yeah.
So that's for friends, experience, and so on. But the other thing that I think it's also a need, it's sort of like the more romantic aspect of it, which is kind of a weird thing to get in.